Aside from his superb acting talent, Mel Gibson has graced us with some of the greatest historic biopics. Because of Mel Gibson, we have Braveheart, Apocalypto, The Passion of the Christ, Hacksaw Ridge. But no, not Flight Risk. I'm still not convinced that he actually made that movie.
A soliloquy for every movie, for Casablanca, Tommy Boy. He's here, it's him, it's Andrew Toy. It's Andrew Toy.
Yet despite the billions of dollars his name alone brings into the studios, not to mention the enormous global crowds he draws, Hollywood and audiences still can't stand him. In fact, he's seen as a pariah, which is ironic because he plays a pariah in almost all of his roles.
Hey, you want to see crazy? I'll tell you.
Somebody who goes against the system, who challenges authority.
You have no heavy cavalry. In 2 centuries, no army has won with it.
I'm not finished. Your commander must cross that field, present himself before this army, put his head between his legs, and kiss his own arse.
Somebody who shines the light of hope, but to translate that passion and conviction into real life? Forget about it. That's ridiculous. Just be a normal person, keeping your mouth closed, not saying anything, and don't stand on principles that you believe in. And when we shut passion up, that just leaves room for us to continue to fictionalize great moral character and strong principles. Mel Gibson has long been accused of being an anti-Semitic and a drunkard. And after all these years, it seems like nobody has a shortage of stones to throw. And when I say that, keep in mind whose name has never, ever, ever been associated with the likes of Jeffrey Epstein. And in fact, it's the opposite.
One of the most disturbing problems in our world today is human trafficking, and particularly the trafficking of children.
He's been trying to warn us of these creeps for the last 27 years, and people still won't listen to him. He is one of very few people in power who is bothering to spend his time, his money, and his resources trying to free children from the sex trafficking rings that Hollywood owns and controls. Yet we still are supposed to hate Mel Gibson? And it's frustrating because as soon as anybody starts taking a closer look at Kevin Spacey or Woody Allen, Leonardo DiCaprio, or even Tom Hanks, it's like, no, look over here. Look at Mel Gibson. Look what that freak said a quarter of a century ago. He says some really hard words. He was so mean. He was just so mad at the people that were complicit in, killing Jesus. By the way, if you don't know whose hand that is, nailing Jim Caviezel's hand to the cross, you might want to look that up. Now, obviously, I don't condone racial slurs, especially if that group of people or persons did nothing to harm anybody. And we forget that even after Mel Gibson issued his many, many apologies,
I've apologized more than anyone I know, so it's getting old. And
how long's your list of apologies necessary?
Oh, huge. For my whole life.
People were still mad at him and are still unwilling to forgive him and move on. Let me ask you this. When have we ever had a sitting president, in our lifetime at least, that apologized for making a bad decision? When has any politician accepted any responsibility for any wrongdoing they've done unless they were actually caught red-handed, unless they were pinned up against a wall and they have exhausted all their lies and tall tales?
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier.
Or when has any celebrity done that? We've gotten a lot of celebrity apologies over the years for not being woke enough or, saying a thing here or there. But that's only because they were intimidated by the mob, the crowd. It never actually came from within, from the heart. And what exactly were the words that Mel Gibson used that got him into so much trouble? Well, if you'll remember, back in 2006 in Malibu, California, Mel Gibson was arrested for drunk driving. And he said this to the arresting deputy. He said, "The Jews are responsible for all the wars in the world." And that's not even the worst of his sins. He's done really bad things that he has apologized for. And you know what? I have too. I have probably done worse things than Mel Gibson has. But there's a thing that Hollywood, they'll tell stories about, but they don't really believe in. It's a thing called redemption, and we don't really allow room for people to be redeemed. But going back to Mel Gibson's words about the Jews starting all the wars in the world, I think it's time we go back and re-examine what he's saying. Now, I'm going to piss a lot of you off, but you've got to stick with me so that I can explain myself a little bit further. Just take one look at Trump and tell me, who is his best buddy aside from Jeffrey Epstein? Who coerced him into bombing Iran unprovoked? Who's actually calling the shots here?
Birds suddenly appear.
And when you look at the influence that Hollywood has on a political stage, and you look at who's running Hollywood, essentially running the world, things start to come a little bit more into focus, and we kind of realize that maybe we should all apologize to Mel Gibson. And again, let me redirect you to the Epstein files. The people in those lists are the ones running the world. Yet we keep giving them money and we keep voting for them and we keep patting them on the back. Now, does it make me an anti-Semite for coming to these conclusions? Absolutely not. Let me explain why. Of people who partake in the viewing of child entertainment, we'll call it, 98% of those people are males. To take it a step further, an astounding 67 to 75% of them are white. And for this reason, I don't leave my kids alone with any white male unless I know them inside and out. And even then, what reason is there to ever leave my kids with one of my friends? That just wouldn't make sense. They're all married, they have wives, you know, there are other options. And in the same way, I don't ever expect anybody to leave their kids with me, because I do think these sorts of things should go both ways. These should be standards that are like officially established into our social construct. I would much rather parents prioritize the safety of their children over not offending me. So stating the fact that most child viewers are white males, like myself, doesn't offend me at all. Now, I could do what a lot of people do and pretend to be offended. Oh, I'm so sad, my heart's broken, cry, cry. I'm gonna get on the political stage and start talking about how offended I am, just to get more empathy votes. But doing so would be inaccurate and wildly inappropriate. Because then if I were to pretend to be offended, that would be me placing my own self above the safety of any child. Again, I would much rather be offended by statistics even than have anyone's child in harm's way, or even be a disturbance to the minds of any parent. Now, at the same time, I am often surrounded by white men. So when my kids aren't around, I am easily able to give them the benefit of the doubt. And the same goes for calling me a cracker or laughing at me because I can't jump or dance or hip hop to the bebop, you know what I'm saying? And in fact, you watch me play basketball for the 3 minutes that I can manage, you're likely going to call me a fairy because I shoot the ball like a little girl. I'm not going to be offended by these things because A, all of these statements are absolutely true, and B, my skin may be white, but it is a lot thicker than tissue paper. So to get back to the main point, I don't ever see any celebrity coming out and explaining why their name is mentioned in the Epstein files. If my name were mentioned in the files even one time, as like a whisper, as an asterisk at the very bottom, as a footnote, I would immediately get on social media and spend all of my time exonerating myself if I really am innocent, because I know the truth. But instead, all of these people who are named in the files have all tucked tail and run away. Yet the world continues to slam Mel Gibson for being an anti-Semite? Think about it. Think about where he's coming from. His entire career, by default, is in the hands of Jewish people who make the decisions for his future. And yet, none of them will put $1 toward his movies, toward his career. He gets rejected by studio after studio after studio. Nobody in Hollywood wants to support him financially.
No.
No. Lo siento, pero no.
Not because they don't have faith in his abilities. Clearly, he is an actor from another planet.
Give me back my son!
But because they don't like him. They don't like that he won't partake in their ritualistic, nasty, whatever voodoo shit they're doing. And remember, his name guarantees major money, major success. They don't care. Years ago, I tried publishing a few books that I wrote, and I felt very strongly. I must have sent over 300 to 400 proposals to literary agents and book publishers. So yeah, I'm a little bit jaded against book publishers and literary agents. That doesn't make me literist, whatever you want to call that. So yeah, Mel Gibson is gonna tend to be pretty bitter with the group of people that continue to turn him down, to reject him, and to slander him time after time. But he will still bet his entire career on a movie that glorifies none other than a Jewish man. And Hollywood will still laugh at him, and Hollywood is still going to laugh at him a year from now when his sequel to The Passion of the Christ comes out and blows everybody out of the water once again. Nobody can get over the horrible thing that Mel Gibson said. Yet, that horrible thing that he said is turning out to not be too far from the truth. That doesn't mean he hates Jewish people. He employs them in his movies. That doesn't mean I hate Jewish people. I worship one daily. There are bad people in every race, every ethnicity, every group. There's also good people in every single group as well. But yeah, it's wrong to generalize. Oh no, it's so bad. I get that, all right? I get it. So people are still mad at Mel Gibson for whatever it is he said, and he has a drinking problem, obviously, and we all have our demons to battle. Imagine the weight he's having to carry on his shoulders, being surrounded by this dark, evil industry. I'd probably be drinking myself to a stupor too. And I don't even like the taste of alcohol. But the industry and the fans, unfortunately, are quick to turn a blind eye whenever one of their heroes or their idols are found in a photo of them shirtless with a bunch of underage girls. I'll take the anti-Semite over a pedophile any day. And it's really a shame that such a few amount of people think the same way. They just want to be continually entertained. Entertain me. Do whatever you want off screen, or whoever you want, but just keep coming back to entertain me and pretend, so I can pretend like you're such a great, wonderful person that I can still idolize and worship. All the while, these people that we're worshiping, voting in, giving our money to, they belong nowhere else but in the pits of the earth. But we keep lifting them high above us. It's a shame. The only person we can and should worship is Jesus Christ, as I have said in previous videos. He is the one and only Son of God. He is the one and only person that is worthy of our praise. He died for our sins, past, present, and future, and he rose from the dead. And he rose from the dead so that we can have eternal life with him, should we choose to accept it. Thank you very much. I know this was a very, very heavy video. Just had to get it off my chest. I'm such a big fan of Mel Gibson, always have been, but despite how much I love his acting and his directing, I look at him as a human being and I see that he has made so many mistakes, just like all of us have. We all need to lay our stones down. And if we really want to cast stones, why don't we cast the stones at the ones who actually deserve it? And you know the types of people I'm talking about. Be sure to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.